Hey everyone, welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm Denise Salcedo, and holy moly, is it late? If you are in the West Coast like I am, thank you so much for joining me at this hour. If you are in the East Coast or any other place, thank you so much for staying up late to come join my post show. As you guys all know, AEW got preempted to Friday due to the NBA and will be continuing to be preempted due to the NBA playoffs. So Fridays is going to be double duty, which quite frankly, I am stressed the hell out because we got 4 hours of wrestling today. Plus, we also kind of had something pretty major happen ahead of SmackDown and AEW Dynamite, which we're going to get into here today. So it was literally just like nonstop information coming in all directions. So I, for one, cannot get ready to, I'm so excited to talk about. We're going to talk about Tony Khan's promo today. We're going to talk about SmackDown today, and we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite. Now, for those of you guys who are part of my shows, you guys know that I usually do things in chronological fashion. However, today I'm going to do things a little bit differently just because there's so much information. I am going to cover the main parts of each show, basically what I consider the most noteworthy thing to talk about on today's show. So we are going to go ahead and narrow things down and not go through everything like we normally do. So I'm ready to have a good time. Are you guys ready to have a good time? Let's do this. BTW, at any point, you guys can go ahead and send in any comments, questions, or statements throughout this entire stream. This is a very interactive show, so I will be reading your thoughts and opinions. Whether you agree or disagree with me, it's totally okay. I welcome all opinions on this show. Plus, at any point, if you want to send in a super chat, you are more than welcome to. If you're sending in a comment and you're mad because I haven't read it, the best way to get it read on the air is by sending in a super chat. Plus, F4W Online does allow me to keep 100% of whatever I make from the super chat. So they are very much appreciated here on this show. But what a night, guys. I just feel so overwhelmed today. Let's go ahead and kick things off with Tony Khan's promo that AEW posted on social media today. I was one of the early birds in seeing that post. I saw it 45 seconds after they had posted it, and I started watching it, and I thought, why did they tag WWE? Well, I pressed play on the video, and lo and behold, one of the craziest things that I have seen recently on social media, considering everything that's been going on. So earlier today, the number one thing that was talked about was obviously the fact that Dave reported that there were talks between New Japan Pro Wrestling and WWE possibly working together. Again, this could be a major story or it could be no story at all. You all know the details on that. But then Tony Khan did a in-character promo with Tony Schiavone where he essentially calls out WWE and Nick Khan. He says, and I quote, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. He says, I just want to address as the forbidden door that New Japan Pro Wrestling has apparently had talks with WWE's president, Nick Khan. Well, Nick, if you've been talking to New Japan for 2 months, you've gotten a lot done. Just in the last 2 weeks, I've had Yuji Nagata, Ren Narita, and Rocky Romero in AEW. I've reunited Roppongi Vice. I've had the IWGP US champion, Jon Moxley, defend the title successfully on our show and have future plans with New Japan for the US title. He then goes on to add, so you must have really gotten a lot done in 2 months, Nick. In fact, I think there's only room for one Khan in the wrestling business. It's me, Tony Khan, not some Khan man from Connecticut. And boy, I was completely in shock. What did you guys all think about this? Because I was completely blown away that Tony essentially had this video out there. I personally, because obviously it's in character, I found it to be quite hilarious. However, based on some of the comments that I got on Twitter or some of the people's comments that I was reading on Twitter weren't necessarily all of that happy about what Tony Khan had to say. So I am interested to hear your thoughts on how you felt about this. But first, I'm going to go ahead and read our first super chats of the night. We have one from Brandon Rosen who says, I'm so pumped the fans are back. The crowd made AEW Dynamite so much more awesome than usual. Oh, dude, I had like mixed emotions. I don't know why. I looked at everybody and I thought, holy cow, like think about everything that we've gone through the last over a year, almost a year and a half now. I've lost track of time, really, but it's just been so insane. Like, I just remember when everything happened, when everything shut down, when we had no people, and then all of a sudden we had the Thunderdome, and just like everything that's been going down in wrestling and how we've been watching wrestling and how we've been doing live events. And now, you know, the past couple of weeks, WWE, AEW has been announcing the fact that they're going on tour with people. It's just so crazy, and it feels like it's happening so fast. Like, I'm not ready for it, but at the same time, I'm so excited. And I'm really just today having the crowd there. It was nice. There was just too much to say. I definitely had mixed emotions with this, but they definitely made the show 100 times better. We have another super chat from Felipe Cartas, who says, AEW Spanish commentator made fun of Shida's accent during commercials. Mics were open. Did you catch that? What the hell? No, I did not actually, because I don't watch the Spanish feed. I watch the English feed. I am actually not aware of what was said in the Spanish feed. If anybody wants to clue me in on what was said, then I can definitely give my 2 cents on that. But I did not know that happened during the Spanish feed. So thank you so much to Felipe Cortez for sending in a super chat and also pointing that out to me, because I was unaware of that. We have another super chat from Cyclops is better than Wolverine, who says, Khan came off like Bischoff in these 90s. Yikes. Okay, so I'm guessing you didn't like the promo from Tony Khan. I'm guessing here. All right. Thank you so much for sending in the super chat. We have another one from Evan Wright, who says, sassy Tony Khan rules, Denise. That video was fantastic. I kind of do like sassy Tony Khan. Like, would I have done it if I were in his position? Probably not, but at the same time, this was Tony Khan in character. If he was not, let's say he hadn't been doing all of those Impact vignettes, and then out of nowhere, we just got this video. Oh yeah, it would be totally super random. But just given everything that he's been doing with those Impact vignettes and just the side that we've gotten to see from Tony Khan, it doesn't feel totally out there. And so it's not like this is the real Tony Khan. Now, obviously, shots were fired, but it was done in character. So, I don't know, make what you will of it. Personally, I loved it. Maybe because I love the drama. I love the tea. I don't care. But either way, it was pretty interesting to say the least. I was like waiting. I was like, oh, the internet is about to blow the hell up. We have another super chat from Juan Garcia, who says, Tony Khan with the testicular fortitude. Definitely has great balls of fire in Tony Khan to go out there and call out WWE and Nick Khan for this partnership deal. So yeah, testicular fortitude, if you want to call it that. Thank you so much to Juan Garcia for sending in this super chat. Okay, then. Jordan Patu, in regards to the Spanish commentary that was done, says, just heard the audio of the Spanish commentator mocking Shida's accent. It's even worse than you would think. Okay, well, I'm going to have to listen to that at some point, but I'm going to go ahead and read your guys' thoughts on the Tony Khan promo. Here we go. We have one from Daniel, who says, Khan's promo was hilarious. People need to relax. Pro wrestling is ridiculous and needs to be clowns like that more. I think that people that already do not like AEW or Tony Khan are obviously not going to like this whatsoever. And a lot of people will probably think that Tony Khan wasn't in character. So I think that is also going to play a part in that too. So also thank you so much to Juan Garcia for sending in another super chat. You are awesome. You didn't leave a comment here, but thank you so much for sending this in. And okay, I'm going to go through some more here because we're getting so many comments on this. Okay. And all right, I'm going to try to get a couple more. Okay, we have a comment from Jordan who says, I've been saying that if AEW and WWE are going to take jabs at each other, they should say it with their chest and go straight for the jugular. Tony Khan certainly did that tonight. Dude, like, make it fun. I honestly think that this was a fun thing to do, and I know a lot of people hated it because I saw the comments, but to be honest, I kind of thought it was super awesome. And somebody points out Khan versus Khan in a Sparkles match. Dude, I tweeted Nick versus Tony, winner gets the Khan. Okay, and we're getting a couple more super chats. This one is from Colette Adam, who says, hi, Denise, thoughts on Carmela's performance tonight? We will get into that in a second, so thank you so much for sending in the super chat. I will be talking about that in my SmackDown coverage of the evening. We will get that into we will get into it in a second. All right, this one's from Blowing Smoke 247, who says, it's not about clowning around. Tony Khan legit means everything he said. It's not always about being in character. See, to me, that was in character. Now, there may have been some truth to that. We don't know. But in my opinion, that was in character. Aaron says, love the Tony Khan promo. Would be interesting about what he thought about it out of character. Exactly. And someone, okay. Let me go through some more comments here. We have one from Pomi who says, Tony Khan's promo was overall pretty harmless compared to what WCW and WWF did and said back in the day, especially like constantly suing each other back and forth. Hell yeah, this is some very harmless type of stuff for sure. Alrighty, guys, so let's go ahead and move in. So we're going to kick things off with SmackDown, and then we're going to jump into AEW Dynamite. Again, we're going to only cover the main highlights of the show. So SmackDown today, obviously, the best thing going right now for SmackDown is everything that's going on with Roman Reigns, Jimmy, and Jey Uso. That is the meat. That is the heart right now of SmackDown. It's the best thing going. So we had them going throughout the entire show, coming in and coming out of this storyline. So here we go. We kick things off. Obviously, we know we're going to get this match with the Street Profits and the Usos. That was already promoted as of last week. However, also as of last week, we already know that Roman Reigns was not really all that happy about Jey Uso essentially being all buddy with his brother Jimmy Uso. Roman Reigns is wanting to get underneath Jey Uso. He wants to keep him in that place that he has had him. He wants to keep him as that right hand man. He does not want to let him go whatsoever. And he's sort of causing this drift between Jimmy and Jey Uso. And that's what we've been seeing as of late. So he really tells them, he starts saying like when they're all in the room, he says that he's happy for them, good luck. But then when Jimmy walks out, he tells Jey Uso, because you're going to need it. Then Jey Uso tells him, look, I'm with you. Just know even when I'm out there with Jimmy, I am still by your side. And Roman Reigns basically tells him, well, you should tell Jimmy that. So obviously we're sensing a lot of, you can say, I don't know if it's jealousy per se from Roman Reigns. It's more so of him wanting to have the upper hand. And obviously as the head of the table, as the one who wants to be acknowledged, that is what we would expect from Roman Reigns. We then get into this match with the Street Profits and the Usos. But before this match, they go back and forth with one another on the mics. And I love this. The Usos basically say they want to become 7-time tag team champions. The Profits say that that the Usos used to run the tag team division, but that they now run the tag team division. And hell yeah, I have to definitely agree with that, obviously, given everything that the Profits have done. Then we get into this actual match. This is the first Usos match as them as a tag team in over a year since Jimmy's injury. So, obviously it was pretty fun, especially if you're a fan of the Usos. I'm a fan of the Usos. We all know how great they are in the ring. We don't need to get into that. But they kick off this match with both teams really trying to one-up one another, showing off to one another. We have Montez Ford essentially taunting and mocking the Usos throughout this match. We see a lot of really great back-and-forth action. They also gave this match plenty of time in the opening segment. And in the end, we see essentially Montez Ford goes for a frog splash, but instead Jey pulls out Jimmy out of the ring, and so Jimmy is able to then get a kick to Ford's head and knocks him out to get the win. So that is how the Usos end up winning here tonight. And I'm thinking automatically Roman is not going to be happy about this whatsoever. And we did get to see this play out for the rest of the night. Roman essentially tells Jey, the second you go back to being with Jimmy and being the Usos, you're going to be that twin that people are asking, which one are you again? And I thought that was such a low blow shot from Roman Reigns, but it was so bloody awesome. You see, my favorite thing about Roman Reigns' character, and I think the reason why so many fans gravitate towards him and what he's doing right now is that, yeah, he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a heel. Okay, we get that. But there's also different layers to him. There's layers to his persona. He's not just, he's also a manipulator. And you're seeing that there's so many different facets to who Roman Reigns is as a heel that it comes across as more realistic, because as you guys know, in real life, people aren't all good, aren't all bad. And if you are all bad, you're different types of bad. And I think that's what we're seeing with Roman Reigns here. Lastly, before I get your thoughts on everything that's going on with Jimmy J and Roman, lastly, I do want to add that we are going to get next week, we are getting the Usos versus the Mysterio. So that should be pretty fun as well. So we will see that next week. Alrighty, guys. So what do you all think in regards to Jimmy, Jay, Roman? Are you guys liking what they're doing so far? How did you guys feel about what went down tonight? I'm going to read a couple of these comments and then we'll jump into the next thing. This is a comment from Advi who says, Roman is manipulating Jay into thinking that Jay needs Roman to be more than just one of the Usos. Pulling up the line, which one are you, from 9 months ago was masterful storyline. 100% agree with that. I think that they've been very careful with Roman Reigns and they know that they have something really good going on right now. And they have been doing their best to sort of protect it. And really, given that that's like the best thing going in WWE right now, they really, really do need to protect Roman and what he's doing right now. This is a comment from Aaron who says, Roman is cutting the promos of his life. Every promo he has hit the ball with, especially when he says to Jay, I don't want to be that Uso they don't know the name of. He's hitting that soft spot in Jay Uso, and I think that's what I like here. Honestly, I thought that this was a really strong opening to SmackDown, and I thought that the first hour, maybe hour and a half of SmackDown, I thought was really, really cool. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to go ahead and move on. And this is the next thing that I want to talk about is actually Bianca versus Carmela. And earlier, someone in the super chat asked me what I thought about Carmela. All I got to say is I'm glad she had a match tonight, because the number one thing that I have been talking about on my SmackDown post shows is we need more women on the SmackDown roster, okay? I think the last time I counted, it was 8 women. And keep in mind that they're working the women in the SmackDown Women's picture, championship picture, and also in the tag team picture. So you definitely need more of a variety of women, different types of challengers, especially if you want to make Bianca Belair's reign to be phenomenal. You're going to want her to have really good challengers, and I don't necessarily feel we necessarily have that. So now we have this match where Bianca versus Carmela. And it should be noted, though, that Carmela was actually the last person that Bianca Belair defeated ahead of becoming SmackDown Women's Champion on WrestleMania. So that was the last time that they wrestled one another. And immediately when this match starts, we hear a ding-dong hello, and Bayley comes out and she joins commentary. Right at the top of this match, we see Bianca essentially ramming Carmela into the corner of the ring and literally just starts pounding on her. Carmela then gets her with a hurricanrana, and during this entire time, Bayley is doing commentary, talking about how Bianca cheated during their match, talking about how Bianca essentially cheated to retain her title, and then Bayley and Pat McAfee kind of have this moment during commentary where I could not stop laughing, because Pat McAfee tells Bayley that she essentially brought in Bianca's hair into the match, and Bayley literally says, what do you mean how I brought in her hair? She's wearing it on her head. She's bringing her hair with her. I thought that was pretty hilarious. And all I gotta say is that Bayley, for a while, obviously they weren't doing much with her. She didn't have her WrestleMania match. So many people were very annoyed about that. And now we're starting to get this going with Bianca, and she is really going back to doing some really, really good work. Bayley right now, to me, is outshining Bianca in the sense that she comes out and she's just feeling very, very entertaining. She's feeling hot, and she's also feeling very different from the normal, different versions of Bayley that we've gotten in the past. So I like how she has sort of elevated her heel character, her heel persona a little bit more. So I like this. Overall, I did think, though, that this match was a little bit sloppy. This was not the best match that I've seen Bianca in whatsoever. I didn't really think that Bianca or Carmela clicked with one another during this match. And really, all I have to say is that we need to get more women there so that Bianca could keep having these actual really good matches, and also give Carmela more time to actually be in the ring, because if not, then you get like these matches that necessarily aren't that great. So there you go. That was Bianca versus Carmela. And we actually have a super chat. This one is from Crippleface Jenkins in regards to AEW, who says, I'm a huge AEW fan, but except for a few segments tonight was a huge letdown with a lackluster card. So once we get to AEW Dynamite, I will talk about how I felt about the show. Usually every week, as you guys know, I come in here and I'm like, hell yeah, like we had a bomb show and this and that, right? I didn't think today was necessarily a blow away show. I thought it wasn't the greatest show, in my opinion. However, we had audience and there were a lot of good things that came out of this show. And we'll talk about that once we get into the AEW segment. But let's see what you guys all thought in regards to Bayley, in regards to Carmela, and all of that here. So I'm going to read a couple comments. This one is from Tamzid, who says, Bayley is getting stale nowadays. She needs to stay away from the picture for longer. See, I don't feel that way whatsoever. I actually think that Bayley, I think she's sort of reviving herself in a way. I think she's literally the highlight of this story. And that's saying a lot given how likable and how I'm like fully behind Bianca Belair and her having this reign. And I don't want to see her lose the belt anytime soon. And I don't think she's going to lose the belt anytime soon. But Bayley is the one that's actually getting me invested into the actual storyline. CJ Dart points out that Pat McAfee is just a natural. Dude, Pat McAfee has literally been awesome on commentary. And I'm not surprised whatsoever, because the second that they made this announcement, given the promo work that he was doing on NXT, I knew that he was going to be good. Obviously, he has his podcast and all of his other stuff. I had never seen his other work outside of WWE. So, but based off the stuff that he did on NXT, I had a feeling that he was going to be good on commentary. And Josh Bowen says, Bayley is more critical over Michael Cole's commentary than Vince McMahon. LOL. All right, guys, let me get some more comments in here. This one is from Jordan, who says, Bayley roasting Michael Cole for getting Bianca's name wrong had me rolling. She is always on that man's neck. I would pay to just see Bayley and Michael Cole go at it for like whatever, as long as they were essentially just being all crazy or whatever. This one is from Blowing Smoke 247, who says, WWE Women's Division has just completely crumbled over the last year or so. That's sad considering the amazing talent WWE has, whereas AEW's Women's Division has grown a lot over the last year. There was a point where I kind of felt like both the WWE Women's Division and the AEW Women's Division was going down, right? Like it was just not necessarily the hottest thing, right? But then we started to see AEW turn things around, and they definitely turned things around. I think right now, WWE had some good ideas with making Raquel champion, making Bianca champion, making Rhea champion. Unfortunately, it kind of fell back down after that. It necessarily hasn't been, at least speaking for Bianca and Rhea, it could definitely be hotter reigns for them, and they definitely just need to switch things up. Stop essentially throwing the tag team picture and the singles picture all in one. I think if they at least separated that, had more women, diversified things, added more of a variety of matches and not seeing the same people over and over again, it would definitely spruce up the division. So yeah, I definitely agree with this comment. Guys, before we move on, just a friendly reminder, if you have a brilliant comment on this stream and you're like, dang it, Denise, I've been sending this and you haven't read it. If you want to make sure I read it, you feel free to send in a super chat. Once again, F4W Online does allow me to keep any money that I make from my stream. So thank you so much. All right. The next thing that we want to talk about was this not so great segment with Seth Rollins. And all I'm going to say is this: happy birthday, Seth Rollins, but I do not want to be invited to no Seth Rollins birthday party because this was not great. So Seth Rollins comes out, he calls out Cesaro, but then he starts saying, oh, my bad. This was a mistake. Obviously, Cesaro is not here, and he makes fun of him for not being there because of the attack from last week. Then he starts celebrating that it's his birthday. And then he says that he has a special audio that we just really need to keep between him and us. We can't tell anybody about this audio. And I'm thinking, obviously, this audio is going to be silly. It's going to be dumb. But it ended up being much worse than that. He literally just plays like a clip of like a groan, I think it was. I don't even know what it was. It was just like this awful sound that was supposedly supposed to be Cesaro. Obviously, we all know it was probably him just making funky sounds on a microphone. And then he starts laughing hysterically, and I'm thinking, oh, that was not funny. That was not funny whatsoever. It was very, very dumb. It was, I think they could have gone, had they done everything that they did here, it would have been fine. It would have been fine. This would have been a perfectly fine promo, whatever. It would have been fine. But the whole audio thing brought you back down to, oh, this is some goofy shit that I cannot get behind. So I was not a fan of the whole groaning audio Cesaro sound. But essentially this closes off with Seth blaming the fans for essentially giving Cesaro false hope, brainwashing him that he can actually pursue or deserve opportunities on SmackDown. And honestly, here's the thing that I have to say. So even last week, I mentioned on the show that I do think that instead of giving Roman Reigns meaningless matches at pay-per-views, like even Hell in a Cell, I mentioned that I think that they should keep Roman Reigns off of Hell in a Cell instead of giving him a meaningless match. And with that being said, I need to mention this now because I really do think that if they do Cesaro, Seth Rollins, obviously at Hell in a Cell, they should at least give it, it should at least be something where there's actual stakes. So keep Roman off, and then obviously whoever wins from there can go off to face Roman Reigns or something. But I definitely do think that they should save Roman Reigns, not necessarily put him on every pay-per-view if they don't have something fantastic for him. Obviously, if they do, then by all means go for it. But I'd rather have them not put Roman Reigns in any sort of meaningless match whatsoever. So thoughts on this, guys? What did you think of Seth Rollins? How did you guys feel about this audio file? Send it in. This is a comment from Tyler Wilson who says, I want to see Seth back in the main event picture. I know they are both heels, but a match against Reigns would be unique on who to cheer for. It would be. And I mentioned that I wanted to see like Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, with obviously probably Seth Rollins being a face. But then everybody was reminding me at how bad Seth Rollins is as a babyface. And then I started thinking like, dang, that's probably not the greatest idea, but it's definitely something that I want to see, and that I know a lot of people, including yourself, want to see as well. And let's see what else we got here. And okay, this is coming from Chris Cage. It says, should I care about Seth Rollins? He's basically an elaborate suit cutting promos and being insane in the head. It kind of feels like they're still trying to find their footing with Seth Rollins. It doesn't feel like a crystal clear direction. He doesn't feel as crazy as he was on Raw, but he's still not necessarily completely there. This is coming from Devin, who says, I genuinely lost it when the hospital audio was played. It was hilarious, but it was jarring and took me out of the segment. It brought you back down to like the goofy stuff. It reminded me of like the stuff that we're seeing with Lily. It reminded me of the stuff that we're seeing with zombies, and basically the stuff that I can't feel like I'm a fan of whatsoever. So there you go. Alrighty, everyone. We're going to go ahead and actually I'm going to read one more comment. This one is from Scott Grebe, who says, Seth has go away heat. I don't want to see him whine about the fans. I don't want to see him at all. That was more of like his babyface side. Obviously, he's much better as a heel, but oh, definitely. Sean Harrington says, Seth's promo came on and I changed the channel. All right, well, it turns out Seth Rollins necessarily isn't hitting the mark with all of the viewers. Obviously, that's bound to happen. But we actually have a super chat from Brandon. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, I think I want to see Cesaro swing Rollins off the top, on the top of Hell in a Cell. Bro, that would be sick. I would actually be pretty interested in that, because not only do you add the dizziness factor, but you're adding this high elevation. I'm not necessarily opposed to that idea whatsoever. So shout out to Brandon for sending in this super chat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I move on, I do want to remind you all that I am live 3 times a week here normally, unless AEW is preempted. Tuesdays, I'm on talking about NXT. AEW, I'm on Wednesdays, I'm on talking about AEW, and Fridays, I'm talking about SmackDown. Now, when AEW is preempted, I will be talking about both SmackDown and AEW Dynamite on the exact same night at a later time, as you guys are all know since you're already here. And from the looks of it, AEW is going to be preempted for quite some time, which I personally am not crazy about. But what can you do, guys? I don't make the decisions. Okay. Lastly, I don't really want to get into much about this, but we'll talk about really quickly, and then we'll move on to AEW. Just to recap really quickly, Kevin Owens versus Apollo Crews was total shit show. Was not good. They had a potential to have a pretty decent match, but it ended up being just a really nothing segment. They had a match. Kevin Owens stuns Apollo. Kevin Owens is technically, you can say, about to beat Apollo. But then it ends up being a DQ disqualification, because Aziz gets him with a Nigerian nail, and Kevin Owens sells the hell out of it. And I'm guessing they're probably going to do this match at Hell in a Cell, but that was pretty much, it was not great. It was not great at all. We saw Shinsuke Nakamura defeat Chad Gable, and then we saw Rey Mysterio and Dominic versus Ziggler and Rude, and they practically did the exact same thing that they did last week. They attacked Rey, and Dom started the match by himself the exact same way as last week, but the opposite version of that. Dominic ended up getting the win, and we are going to be seeing the Mysterios versus the Usos next week. So there you guys have it. That was SmackDown. So we are going to jump into AEW Dynamite. Before we do, I am going to read this super chat. Thank you so much to CT, who says, I'd love to see some of the main roster move to NXT. He says, I'd love to see some of the main roster move to NXT and away from Vince. Chad and Shinsuke would be top of the list. Love the bloody awesome Denise. Thank you so much, CT, for sending in the super chat. And here's the thing. There's certain guys from NXT that I feel would be better off on the main roster. And then there's guys on the main roster where I'm like, dude, they need to go to NXT. So I feel like they can definitely play musical chairs and swap some people around. But then again, we don't make the decisions, which is very unfortunate, but what can you do? Thank you so much to CT for sending in this super chat. All right, guys, let's do this. It is time to talk AEW Dynamite. So here we go. I guess I'll start off by saying that overall, the show was not necessarily my favorite. I thought that the last hour was definitely better than the first hour. I thought it took a while to really get the show not going, because that crowd was there and the crowd was so lively and the crowd was so into everything. But I just think from the TV audience, from me watching at home, there were some things that I necessarily wasn't like wild about. And I feel like obviously having the crowd there and popping for people and just being overall excited to be there really made the show so much better, really elevated what we were seeing on TV. So here we go. Opening match, we had Darby Allin versus Cesar Bonani, and obviously we had Darby win. I don't think anybody was expecting to not have Darby win this match, but it really was interesting to see the crowd and just seeing what they were reacting to. Obviously, they had like huge pop for Darby, which was great. But after the match, Ellen called out Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, demanding that they do this tonight. Page and Sky walked out to "You Suck" chants, and Sky told the crowd to essentially grow up. So far, I'm liking what Sky and Ethan Page have been doing, becoming more of a fan of it each and every single week as we go by. Sky said Double or Nothing would be the end of one legend and the beginning of two more. He has been having these pretty good lines. That was definitely one of them. Sky and Page were literally about to walk off, but the wingmen, Bonani's stable, attacked from behind. Paige and Sky returned and locked in Allen in a choke as Sky was about to pillmanize Sting's leg, but the Dark Order ran out to make the save, and that was the opening segment. It kind of felt a little messy, a little clunky, so that's probably why I necessarily wasn't completely all invested in this here. I didn't think it was necessarily the best start to AEW Dynamite. They've had better, obviously, but it was what it was. What did you guys think of this? Let's see what we got here. This is a comment from A. Semper who says, it was refreshing to see genuine fan reactions to storylines. I think a lot of it was really just people that, man, they were just happy to be there, and you really, really got that. And I don't know how many of you guys know this, so I'm going to be at Double or Nothing tomorrow. I'm flying out from LA tomorrow morning. I'll be in Florida at some point in the daytime, and I'll be at Double or Nothing on Sunday. And I'm kind of nervous because I haven't been in a big crowd or anything like that in forever. But I'm excited. Like I feel like I'm gonna be like this new kid, the new kid in school walking in, and like I've never been to a wrestling show in my life. Well, obviously I have like a million, but I'm gonna feel like I've never been to a wrestling show just because it's been so long. Let's see, we got a comment from Karan Navnuva, who says, this episode of Dynamite fell off in some way. I don't think the constant production issues help. There were some issues. We'll get into those as we, there was a moment during the show, and I'll talk about it when we actually get there, but when they were supposed to play a promo, either go to commercial or play that promo with Kingston and Moxley, but it ended up cutting off and going to commercial. So there was probably a timing issue there. And that was really weird because 1 minute I'm watching and the next I'm like, oh, it's commercials. And I had no idea if it was me, it was my fault, if my sling glitched, or if it was actually the show. This is the comment from Sean Harrington, who says, the show was just a previous show pushing Double or Nothing. Could have been a house show that just seemed to be recorded, but I still enjoyed the show. And obviously, given the fact that they're preempted, they're on a Friday night, you know, that probably played into effect too. Pomi Wrestling says, overall an enjoyable episode of Dynamite, but it could have used another lengthy match. Sky and Paige versus Dark Order and Janela versus Paige were good, but we never had that match to truly elevate this show. Mike M says this was a throwaway show. Unfortunately, Cyclops thought that today was a sloppy show. Whoa, Zels, I think a lot of people actually kind of felt the same way. Our Rig says the crowd made an okay first hour into an enjoyable one. Yes, I agree with that. Daniel Lucetta says, I thought the show was all right. Something's been off with Dynamite the past few weeks. I think botches or production issues have been the biggest takeaways for the issues recently. Yeah, and it wasn't, to be honest, there's been a couple of weeks where I personally haven't even noticed them or it doesn't really bother me. But I think today was probably one of those ones where it felt very, very noticeable for sure. Alrighty, guys. So let me see if we got any more comments here about that. But let's go ahead and actually move on from this. So actually, we got a super chat. Thank you so much to Brandon. Brandon, you are keeping me fed, dude. Brandon says, okay, leading us into our next segment. Here we go. The weigh-in between Cody and Anthony Ogogo was the worst segment of the night for me. Too much dead air. Bad promo work from QT and no action. What a waste of time. I tweeted that this weigh-in was a mess. And literally, most of the comments were, yes, worst segment ever, worst Dynamite segment ever. I got several people saying worst Dynamite segment ever. And then Brandon says the exact same thing here. Worst segment, it was not good. There was a lot of noticeable things that went wrong. There was essentially, you didn't get anything out of it. That was the problem. And let's break down a little bit more of what happened here. So we had the weigh-in. Paul White, the Big Show, is hosting this weigh-in. Ogogo comes out. He comes out with his whole gang. Then Cody comes out. And he comes out with like 1 million students from the Nightmare Factory. Like, if you were at AEW today, you were getting some TV time at some point or another. But really, the main thing that I took from this was poor Paul White. He was put in a somewhat very stressful position. And you can tell because he did not know how to work he didn't know how to work the scale. He wasn't like, he was struggling. He didn't struggle as much with Cody's when he was doing Cody's as he was with the Go-Go's. But I felt bad because it was very, very noticeable. And I don't know if it was something where like maybe they just didn't think like, hey, let's practice this ahead of time or what. I think they could have just made up a number, or like, it's not like we were going to know, like the camera isn't going to catch those super fine details. He could have just said a number, or I don't know, a digital scale. I really don't know. I think they could have gone about it a different way because you could tell that he was starting to feel the pressure a little bit during that. So I did feel bad for him. This reminded me of when Paul Heyman couldn't get the handcuffs off of Roman Reigns. I remember that, and that being like, oh, like you can tell, like you started to feel a little stressed out for them because you're thinking, oh man, like that's such an uncomfortable position to be in. That's how I felt for Paul White in this one here. I did feel bad for him, but other than that, this whole entire segment dragged. I didn't get anything out of it. Like Brandon mentioned, dead air. And this was unfortunate, although I wasn't expecting much for the weigh-in necessarily. I personally am not a fan of doing weigh-ins in pro wrestling. To me, it just doesn't hit home. I prefer a promo or something else, a bra. I don't know. But this definitely was not it. We have a comment from a super chat, from Dalen. Thank you so much to Dalen, who says they just reported that Cardi B is hosting SummerSlam. I don't think it was officially done by WWE. Yeah, I think it was a rumor as of right now that they're hoping to get Cardi B to host SummerSlam. Now, if she does host SummerSlam, that's a big deal, guys, because Cardi B is a big deal. Like, she is mainstream, a big deal. So that would be awesome if that is an official thing. So let's see what else we got here, guys. This is a comment from Duke's Catastrophe, who says, weigh-ins always suck anyway. I agree. Let's see what else we got here. Karen says, yeah, the flags blocking the fans was kind of awkward too. Oh yeah, you know what? For some reason, I didn't necessarily realize that. I don't know why. It just didn't hit me that they were blocking the fans. But yeah, you're right about that. And let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go through a couple more of your comments about this thing here. This one's from Daniel, who says, Paul White needed a tutorial on the scale. TK, a higher budget for a digital scale. Oh, TK can afford it, guys. He can afford the digital scales, all right? He definitely can. This one's from Jordan, who says they should have done a worked weight for both men. Watching Big Show trying to play around with the scale felt like watching paint dry. Watching paint dry is boring, okay? This was not boring. I was stressed out for him. I genuinely felt stressed out for him. This one's from a Semper, who says, agreed, lots of dead air in the weigh-in. Should have been more meaningful. Did feel like a legit fighting event. MMA boxing weigh-in, though. No, I wouldn't even say that. I don't even think it felt like that. I think it could have felt more of a big deal. Our Rig says, no more weigh-ins, please, AEW. The entire thing was more for publicity time for AEW in the UK. So it seems like nobody here is liking this. If you did like this, by all means, let me know what it was that you did like about this. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on, though. I don't want to trash this too much. We actually have a super chat from Cyclops, who says, Cody Army outnumbered the heels. Wasn't a good look. It was just too much, too much for me. I think when I start seeing all of these bodies, all of everything, I start to think, all right, it kind of starts to make you not necessarily completely want to pay attention, because then you just know it's going to end up being something totally random. So there you go. Basically, everybody's thinking that they should have done a digital scale or just basically given a number at some point. Okay, guys, let's move in. So after this, we also had All right, so I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I have a feeling that not a lot of people are going to agree with me, so I apologize ahead of time. But you know what? It is my job to have my own opinion and to share it. So I hope nobody hates me here, but Hangman Page versus Joey Janela. So I was not a fan of this match, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't like it. I thought that in the nicest way possible, I didn't think that Hangman Page and Joey Janela should have gone this long, in the sense that Joey Janela is obviously not at the level of Hangman Page. I think that this should have been a quick victory for Hangman Page. And it just, I was not a fan of it. I'll just leave it at that. I thought that aside from the times I couldn't get into the match, I just noticed too much that to me just did not look crisp like we've seen before in other Hangman Page matches. And the ending was interesting too, because we saw Hangman Page get busted open, and I don't even know for sure how he got busted open. I put this out on Twitter and I got several different answers. So I'm going to have to rewatch that and see if I can spot where he actually got busted open. If someone here has like a 100%, they know for sure, send it in. You most of them welcome to do so. But after this, Hangman Page hits Janela with a buckshot lariat. And to me, I started thinking like, is this a receipt or something? Because damn, the way that he hit Joey Janela with this lariat was definitely very stiff. And it looked like he was pissed. Like, I don't know. This is just me assuming something. I could be completely wrong. And I probably am, really. But just from a viewer's perspective, this felt a little off, or it felt very, very intense, to say the least. In the end, though, I will say this, though. The visual with Hangman Page staring down Brian Cage and the blood coming down his face and basically telling Cage, like, do you think you need all of your guys to beat me? Be a real man and beat me without these guys not at your side come double or nothing. I love that. Hangman Page looked like a guy that you do not mess around with. And come double or nothing, I am so interested in how this match is going to go, because I personally think that Hangman Page should be winning this match, especially if he's going to get a title shot. If he were to get a title shot at All Out, I do think that Hangman Page should be the one to win this match. But if he's not necessarily going to get this, not necessarily going to get a title shot at All Out, then I would be like, okay, I'm totally cool with Brian Cage getting the win here. Because then again, you look at Brian Cage and he's monstrous AF. So that would be pretty cool to see as well. So I feel for this one, for me, it's going to really depend on what happens down the road after this match and how it plays out versus how it plays out in the moment. So that's where I'm getting at with this match. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Feel free to send it in, guys. If you disagree, it's totally cool. We are allowed to have opinions. So let's do this here. All right, team. Here we go. This one's from A Semper, who says they agree with me. Didn't think it was a blood necessary on Page. Not sure if it was an accident. Props to Joey because he has been a part of making many current AEW's top talents. Looks good. Okay, and let's see, guys. I'm going to try to see some more comments. This one's from Cyclops, who says, this was a nothing match that went nowhere and a waste of time. Jake Larson says, I thought Janela was dangerous in a couple of spots. I would be surprised if Hangman stiffed him at... He says he wouldn't be surprised if Hangman stiffed him at the end. This is really what I got from this match, too. In the nicest way possible, I felt the exact same way. And to me, it did kind of feel like he stiffed him at the end. And it was probably a receipt for whatever happened there. Everybody's still talking about the Spanish commentary, guys, but I do not know exactly what was said. So I don't want to talk about something that I do not know was actually said there. So if somebody has like a verbatim what was actually said in the Spanish commentary about Shida's accent, then I would definitely love to have it. Someone sent that to me, but I do not, as of this moment, know what was said there. Okay, and let's see what else we got here. This one's from Duke, who says, I don't know if the match would have come off as so close if Hangman wasn't gushing blood from his mouth and head. Sean Harrington says Hangman came in with a Band-Aid on his head that ended up falling off, so likely it was pre-cut that got reopened. Okay, I did not notice that either. Jordan says the buckshot lariat was basically overhand right punch. That was brutal. It was brutal. Jared also points out that they enjoyed the promo afterwards. Hell yeah, me too. That was like a nice cherry on top of what we were getting here. And Bad App says the fast suplex to the corner was scary. Our Rig says, I thought the Paige versus Janela match was okay, but it didn't need to be that long and only good from the blood portion of this. All right, so I think we're somewhat sort of on the somewhat similar page here. Alrighty, guys, so let's go ahead and move on. And apparently, yeah, okay, I can't wait to see this clip. I'm very curious as to what was said about, or what Spanish commentary said. Interesting. All right. After this, we had the Moxley and Eddie Kingston promo. This was the moment where essentially they started the promo, but unfortunately, I think they didn't time it out right, and they went to commercial break. It cut out for everybody, but then we came back and they replayed it, so all was good. Moxley made me laugh super loud when he literally called the Bucks Rod and Todd Flanders. I thought that was a really funny line there that I had not heard before, so it was very clever. Moxley's wearing a bitch AF shirt, and that's definitely something that I'm planning on buying at Double or Nothing, and essentially just say that they want the Young Bucks belts, and Eddie says that the Bucks are going to quit because they quit on people. I thought this was perfectly fine, and then they had the shoes that they took off of the Bucks. They're like, oh, I think it was like mud and all of this. So way to go and ruin those shoes. But overall, this was a nice promo. I liked it. This was fun. And we have a super chat from Christopher Marino. Thank you so much to Christopher, who says, all tonight proved was I'm so glad NXT and AEW are not on the same night. I got to head out, but I hope you have a great Double or Nothing this week. And thank you so much to Christopher Marino, who's always popping into the streams. I thank you very much. And I'm not wild about having to watch 2 shows in one stream because I like to go into each and every single thing chronologically and also in depth. It just makes it so much easier to talk about. So when we do have 2 shows to talk about, we're talking here 4 hours of wrestling and gonna fit it into a 1-hour show. So yeah, it's not necessarily always my favorite. The good thing is though that they weren't on at the exact same time. We at least had the opportunity to watch SmackDown first and then AEW. So I'm okay with that. Let's see what else we got here. We have a comment from Khaled, super chat from Khaled Adam, who says, thoughts on the multiple Stings coming out. So I might as well talk about that now. When they all came out, I couldn't spot Sting. It took me forever. I loved it. And now we can, update the GIFs. We can update now. Obviously, we've seen Sting do that before, but it was just kind of cool to see it be done here tonight. Thought it was a very nice moment to do, especially in front of a live crowd audience with a bunch of people than they normally have at Daly's Place. And I couldn't spot him. It took me a second. I was like, which one's Sting? Like, I know he's in there somewhere, but which one? So it did take me a second. So I like that because it fooled me for a tad. We have another super chat. Thank you so much from Dizzy Drew, who says, is Santana good after that table spot? Sheesh. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because that necessarily did not look good whatsoever. I noticed it right away. I think it was Cash who slipped a little bit when he was doing the pile driver onto the table. It did not look good. I'll tell you that much. It did not look good. I hope everything was okay. Like, that basically turned out very poorly. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on. So after this, we had a quick promo from Pac. Pac basically comes out. I like this. I love anytime Pac gets to have an opportunity to talk on the mic. Basically cuts a promo leading into his big match at Double or Nothing. So this was a perfect way to sort of get some momentum riding for him, try to get some hype getting into this match. Because I think for the most part, we all know that Kenny Omega is retaining the belt. And I'll be honest, if Pac or Orange Cassidy were to win in this match, I think a lot of us would be totally and completely shocked. It would be unexpected. So I like the fact that they actually did a lot to build up to this match and give each guy for people that maybe aren't as convinced that Kenny Omega is going to win, then it at least gave those people a little something, Don Callis pops up on the screen and distracts Pac he basically says that they're nowhere near him, but it's a lie. Kenny Omega attacks him from behind. The Good Brothers that come out, but then the Good Brothers come out and join the attack. But then the Lucha Brothers come out to even out the odds. And after this, we had oh my gosh. All right. So we had them going back and forth here. Orange Cassidy then comes out and he is essentially gets his moment. He gives a quick kick to the head of Kenny Omega, and then he knocks out Kenny Omega. He tries to get the bout, and the second he gets the bout, you see Pac's foot on the bout, basically stopping him. They go at it for a second. It looked like Pac was about to powerbomb Orange Cassidy, but then Orange Cassidy ended up reversing that, and he ends up getting the same exact kick onto Pac. So that is basically how that ended. So they gave Orange Cassidy a nice little edge. Actually, I forgot to talk about the fact that Orange Cassidy also gave Kenny Omega a letter, but in the letter, it was actually the contract that they were trying to get him to sign last week to get him out of this match. And essentially, it was all ripped apart and shredded into this letter. So I like this. I thought this was a really good way to at least give a little bit of something, give a little bit of more of a believability factor that we might just be seeing Pac or Orange Cassidy. They made me feel like maybe what if there's an opportunity that we might actually see the title change hands. Do I think so? No, but at least it made it a lot. It added to it. It added to the story. Is what I'm trying to get at here. Our Rig says, love that the envelope was written on in crayon. I didn't even realize that. Like, I saw that, but I don't know if it was crayon or marker. But yeah, I get you. I like that too. And so let's see what else we got here. This one's from Daniel, who says, just my opinion, but I don't like best friends with Orange Cassidy. I just find it a weird pairing. I like them separately, though. I don't mind it. For me, it's like hit or miss. It's perfectly fine here for me. Karan says, I don't know the actual context of the announcer thing. The entire team is at fault. Okay, so this is in regards to the Spanish commentary thing. Again, I really can't comment until I actually listen to it. So that's my fault. I have to listen to the actual clip and see what was said here. All right, let's go ahead and move on, guys. So after this, here we go. We had Jade Cargill versus Kylan King. And we officially have the reveal of who Jade Cargill's manager / agent is going to be. And it is going to be Mark Sterling. Mark Sterling essentially played the part of MJF's lawyer. And so a lot of people are definitely familiar with Mark Sterling. However, I will say this much. I think given the fact that this was something that was talked about for several weeks, like, oh, who's going to be Jade Cargill's manager? Who's going to be Jade Cargill's manager? I felt like they hyped it up so much that today it kind of felt like, oh, this is who our manager is, in a very throwaway backstage segment. It didn't really feel like a big deal. And I feel based on what I've seen from Mark Sterling that this is going to be a good pairing. However, I was expecting somebody different. I think when this whole thing began, a lot of us on here were thinking, oh, it might be Zelina. Obviously, that's out the door now. But other people were thinking, oh, maybe it's Selena De La Renta. I thought that would have been phenomenal. I think I was just more expecting either a bigger name or a new character to come of this. I don't think I was necessarily expecting Mark Sterling. And I was also kind of hoping that it would be a female. I thought that would have felt more different, especially with Jade Cargill, who, looks the way she looks and is, just looks the way she looks, really. So as for the actual match itself, I thought that it was fine. Obviously, this was really just to give Cargill a win, give her an impressive match. I thought it was perfectly fine. I still think that obviously she has a lot more growth to do, a lot more work to do in the ring, but that's fine. We've already known this from the start. I just hope we continue to see her have more matches, because that's really the only way that she's really going to reach her full potential. And we have a super chat from Brandon who says, Denise, what match do you think is more likely to main event at Double or Nothing, Stadium Stampede, or Omega versus Pac versus Cassidy? Well, I feel like it might actually have to depend on how they're actually shooting the Stadium Stampede. From my understanding, we're supposed to expect something totally different. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what different means. So I think whatever the production is going to be like for Stadium Stampede will determine whether or not it's the main event. Personally, I think that Omega, Pac, and Cassidy should be the main event just because I'm a fan of actually doing the championship match as the main event. But then again, who knows what the production will call for in terms of where Stadium Stampede should be placed on the actual show. Again, we're supposed to be expecting something different, so who knows what that's going to be like. But I just hope that it doesn't suck for the people in the actual audience, because Stadium Stampede, I was thinking at first, like, how are they going to do this with people there? So I kind of hope it doesn't suck for the live viewers. Obviously, in the end, what really, I guess, matters is the TV viewers. But since I'll be there, I kind of don't really want it to suck, you know? That's what I'm trying to get at here. All right, we have some comments on Mark Sterling. This one's from Michael, who says, I think Mark Sterling is underrated and will bring out the best in Cargill. I can't wait to see where this goes. Nice. I'm liking this. Sean says, I was disappointed by the Sterling reveal. I think it is possible they were going to go with Zelina Vega, but negotiations fell through and she chose WWE by the rumors, so Sterling was backup. Who knows? I thought for a long time it was Zelina Vega, but once the rumors started that, hey, she's probably going to be going back to WWE, then that fell out. But then I really did think Selena De La Renta would be an option, especially because Selena De La Renta, she screams star power. And I think having her side by side with Jade Cargill would have been cool, in my opinion. And so that's kind of how I felt about that. And let's see what else we got here. Someone says they were surprised it wasn't Vicky. No, I think from a start, I was not expecting it for it to be Vicky. I was expecting for it to always be somebody else. All right. Let's go ahead and move on, everyone. BTW, for those of you who are new to the show or have never watched me before, friendly reminder that I do cover AEW Dynamite, NXT, and Friday Night SmackDown, so you are more than welcome to join my streams anytime. Also, if you haven't subscribed to F4W Online just yet, I'm sure most of you guys are, but just in case there's that one of you that's not, make sure to go ahead and subscribe. There is lots of content being posted up each and every single day. We are trying to make our way to 100,000 followers, subscribers. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you are on Instagram or on TikTok, we officially have both an Instagram and TikTok account at WONF4W. Those are the handles for both the TikTok and the Instagram page. So make sure you guys go and follow. There should be some cool stuff going up there, especially on Instagram. That page is just blowing up. So make sure you guys go be a part of it. Hit that follow button and make sure you guys like and interact with the channel, with the page. All right, Miro versus Dante Martin. I like this match, guys. Okay. This may be a little out there, but this was probably my favorite match of the night. And the reason for that is Miro came out and he literally just killed Dante, but it wasn't necessarily so bad as that Dante didn't get any moments or opportunities to shine. He definitely did get some moments to shine in here. We saw him do a springboard moonsault. We saw him do an awesome drop kick. So they did give him a little bit. I like this. Miro was definitely over with the crowd. He came in with so much intensity. And so I really like this. And post-match, we saw Jake Roberts come out with Lance Archer and says Archer is going to take his belt and pretends to speak Miro's language. I don't know how people feel about that, but there you go. Archer runs into the ring and tries to chokeslam him, but instead he gets a couple of punches in on Miro and a big boot, and they are essentially pulled apart by the referees. BTW Miro won this match with the game over after Dante Martin tapped. So I really enjoyed this. Let's see, we got a comment from Daniel, who talks about Miro, says Miro is an absolute star. I love this match. I really hope he retains at Double or Nothing. I definitely think that he's going to retain at Double or Nothing. They need to give him a nice, good reign, especially because we've been waiting for this for such a long time. You know, so many of us were talking about how Miro's introduction into AEW wasn't necessarily the best or the hottest, but now they're sort of picking up steam with him, and I like that. We are officially, having him as champion, so I want to actually see him have a good reign. And I do think that they will do that. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and do this. We have the 1-year anniversary of Hikaru Shida as AEW Women's World Champion. So in this segment, we had we had Shida be presented with a brand new AEW Women's Championship. And finally, because the original belt was so small, so tiny, it almost looked fake. It looked weird, okay? The point is that they definitely needed a bigger belt. So I am so glad that she got this bigger belt, okay? And also, I do have to say this though, and I'll say this right now, is that Shida's reign it deserved so much more. They could have made her into a stronger champion. She had all the right tools. She had the personality. She had it all. I do think her reign should have been not celebrated, but just she should have been shown more. She should have been presented more. She should have been just respected more as a champion, I think, given more time, given more matches, given solid stories. Now, obviously, the AEW women's division is definitely turning around now, but I do definitely think Shida deserved a better run. Hopefully, if she gets the bout down the line in the future, which she may, I hope that she does get a better run, obviously. So that does have to be said, because it felt like they did this big celebration, but at the same time, I'm thinking, well, they have obviously done more with her as a champion. So I did feel bad for Shida on that end. We also had Brent Baker coming out, and she comes out and she's a freaking star, man. She comes out and she congratulates Shida on her reign. She says that she takes back what she said last week during an interview, where she says that she was the face of the women's division, because when she wins the title on Sunday, she's going to be the face of a whole new era. Like Austin 316, the new era is going to be DMD. And I think we've all sort of been waiting for Britt Baker to eventually get this moment. And it feels to me that her moment is definitely happening at Double or Nothing. So I would be shocked, and I mean shocked, if Britt Baker did not win at Double or Nothing. So she's going to take that, and I do think that her becoming champion is really going to take the AEW women's division to that next level. Obviously, we talked about this in the earlier part of this podcast, that AEW did make a shift in their women's division, but this is really just going to elevate it so much more further to have somebody like Britt Baker essentially carrying this division. So that should be really, really good. All right, any thoughts on this, guys? Okay, I'm going to see if we have anything that I want to... Okay, here we go. This one's from Chris Cage, who says, the reason why Shida was presented a new belt was because it's being groomed for Britt Baker to win it at Double or Nothing. My guess is Shida is keeping the old belt. That would be nice for her to keep and, sort of have that memory. So yeah, I agree. I think that would be really nice for her as well. We have a comment from Nuva who says, it feels kind of odd to have a segment honoring Shida when they barely acknowledged her in the year she was champ. Yeah, that's honestly, I have to agree with this comment too, because it felt like this was the most spotlight that was put on her. And it's kind of like the farewell spotlight. Like, we all know Britt Baker. Well, we can all assume that Britt Baker is going to become champion come Double or Nothing. But yeah, it kind of did feel like this is your spotlight. This is your celebration. But at the same time, it's like, well, they could have done more with her, obviously, there. But what can you do? We've been there, done that. Okay, and I'm going to try to see if I missed any other comments. Once again, guys, if you want me to read a comment or a question or a statement, whatever it is, feel free to send in a super chat. Not only do those help me out because F4W lets me keep 100% of the proceeds, but they do let me actually read your guys' comments. As you guys know, I'm multitasking during the show, so I do tend to miss a lot of comments, but I do try to get a lot of people's comments in here. So if you want yours to be read and you're like, Denise, I really need you to read this, you can send it in a super chat. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and move on. All right, so after this, what else do we got here? Really quickly, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky defeated Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. I don't think there's really much for me to say about this. It was fine. Let's move into the final portion of AEW Dynamite, since we're already past the 1 hour mark. We have the celebration of the Inner Circle hosted by Eric Bischoff. the Inner Circle comes out and they're essentially celebrating everything that they've done in AEW thus far. And they talk about, they love each other, and Santana gets so emotional. Oh, that was so good. And just basically reminiscing. I like this. I thought this was fantastic. And then afterwards, we get MJF on the screen, and essentially he has Dean Malenko tied to like the yellow post, and so the Inner Circle runs out to try and help him, and the running segment was the running portion of this was really funny, by the way. But anyway, so they get there and they brawl, they start fighting with one another, and then we see FTR do pile drivers on Santana and Ortiz. However, this spot necessarily didn't look that great, because I believe that it was Cash Wheeler where I think he lost his footing during this, and it just did not. Oh, that did not look necessarily all of that. It did not look good. It looked pretty scary, actually. So I hope that everybody is okay in all of that. But overall, I will have to say this, though. I really do think that the Pinnacle is actually winning at Double or Nothing. So today I did my predictions with Brian Alvarez and Mike Sempervive on Wrestling Observer Live, and I was the only one who chose the Pinnacle. So now I feel like this immense amount of pressure, like who's gonna win, right? But I just feel like they can't 50-50 book the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. So I do think that now is a chance to, if you really, really want to make the Pinnacle into the ultimate heel faction in AEW, I definitely think them essentially ending the Inner Circle, I think this is definitely it. I think that there's a lot more upside to having the Pinnacle win than the Inner Circle. I think it's time for the Inner Circle to do something different, something else. We'll see where that goes. I'm just more curious as to what is going to happen afterwards. So my money's on the Pinnacle. What do you guys think? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Also, we are about to wrap up the show. Before I do, feel free to send in any last comments, questions, statements, whatever you guys have. Send them in and I will try to get through some of them. Also, just a friendly reminder, BTW. So normally I do my AEW post shows for the pay-per-views immediately after the show. However, this week, because I will be in Florida for Double or Nothing, I will not be doing my post show immediately following the event. In fact, I will be doing it the day after. So I will be a little late this time. But if you guys want to join me for the post show, you are more than welcome to. I will be going live on Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on the Twitch channel. So over on the F4W Twitch channel, I will be going live to talk about AEW Double or Nothing. And I will be bringing in some of the live event aspect of it and kind of share you guys what it's going to be like. I will be at the AEW Media Scrum as well after the show. So if you guys want to follow along with all of that, you guys can follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram at _ Denise Salcedo. So let me read some final thoughts here. We have a Cyclops is better than Wolverine send in a super chat that says, the Inner Circle already sound like they lost. Yeah, like why would you do the celebration? Does the celebration maybe also give it away that they might be losing? Or are they trying to make you believe that they're going to lose and it's going to be a swerve? We don't know. But I just feel it. I feel it. Josh Bowen says, hell, I got emotional when Jericho made amends with Eric Bischoff and thanked him for everything in WCW. And our rig says, always love to see Malenko, that power driver, onto a table that collapsed. Looks scary, though. And Jordan says, Eric Bischoff appearing on AEW television the same day Tony Khan publicly dissed WWE was weirdly poetic. I wonder if Eazy-E gave TK any encouragement for shouting that video. I'm actually glad that you pointed out. It does kind of feel a little bit weirdly poetic. Yeah, I feel that. Pomey says, I guess Stadium Stampede will follow a work rate heavy match similar to the Elite Deletion and Sting Stream fight going right after FTR versus Young Bucks and the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Karen says, I think the reason you might have not heard the racist Spanish announce team thing is because it was on Fight during a commercial break. Oof. Scott Grebe says, Inner Circle is winning. You can't bring crowds back and not let us sing Judas with the boys. But you sing it in the beginning, though. Not at the end, so they could still lose, but we'll see. I don't know. Okay, and all right, I think we got mainly everything. This is a comment from Sean who says, Inner Circle could win, but the Pinnacle or MJF does something to put out Jericho for a while. That could be a thing too. Colette Adam asks, Denise, are you doing a stream next Friday as well? Yes. So next Friday, AEW will also be preempted. Will be preempted to Friday. So I will be doing a post show as well. Keep an eye out, guys. If you guys either follow me on Twitter, I promote all of the shows on there, or as long as you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel, then you will see all of the streams. The streams are scheduled ahead of time, so you will have a couple days notice as to when I'm going live and what time I'm actually going live. So yes, it would be very, very easy to follow up all of that. Alrighty, everyone. Woof, what a night. We did it, everyone. 4 hours of wrestling into a little bit over an hour podcast. Sorry, guys. I tried to fit in as much as I possibly could. Thank you to everybody who tuned into this stream. I could not do this without you. We actually have another super chat from CT who says, no more preempting AEW. It's 6:15 a.m. in the UK now. Oh my God. I'm so sorry that you're up at this hour. Thank you so much for sending in this super chat. But seriously, please, I would not be able to do this without any of you guys. Please help me spread the word about my show. If you guys enjoy it, let the people know on Twitter or on social media and the YouTube comment section. Please give this video a like. I'm trying to grow my shows more and more each week, and I could only do so with your help. So if you guys do like the shows, please let the people know. If you hate the shows, don't tell anybody. Keep it to yourself. Other than that, guys, I will see you later. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo. Have an awesome week, everybody, and enjoy AEW